All right, go ahead and get started. Tough day again today. This morning started with action, pretty similar to how Friday was, which was tough. A lot of nice looking charts and setups that stuff didn't follow through. So took some cuts early, got red to start the day. Did pick up a little bit, but I was trading a little bit gun shy at that point. So want to be better prepared for tomorrow because I know it was possible to have a pretty decent day today. So I'm going to go through my trades that I took today and kind of just try to fish out some mistakes that I made and see if there's any themes and see if there is, some lessons learned I can carry into tomorrow. I have not reviewed any of these yet, so we're going to go over these together real time right now. All right, let's start with QH. This was my biggest loser. We're going to go from my losingest names to my winningest names through the day. This was, I think, the first thing I took after the bell. If we zoom in here on the 1 minute, and we'll also look at the 5. So this thing had some action after hours yesterday. I think it had some kind of like filing or something that sent it up after hours. Kind of was selling off this morning, but decent volume pop at the open here, and it had a nice consolidation here on the 1. So I was watching this thing. I bought in here, not the best entries. You can see 38, 39, but there was this flat top on the 1. And so, when I see this, and especially this early in the morning, decent volume, I'm thinking this pops and goes, and it started to. We got that flat top break, but this is the action that we saw on Friday. You break a key level and then you stuff. And that's exactly what happened. I stuck with this for too long. You can see my cells. I was getting filled way the hell down here. So did my best to hold this for the support area to hold. But by the time it flushed out, pretty big loss. This is a 1.2K loss right here. So not good. The lesson learned here is, one, this is just a shitty trade all around, let's be honest. But the lesson here is, if you're going to be buying something like this, you got to be quick on the trigger. That thing's either got to go or you need to get the hell out if your average is way up in here. Now, if I had an average way down in here, I can afford to hold even though it comes on a big stuff because maybe this slurps back up. But what the hell am I doing holding an upper 330s average when we come down here in the lower 330s? It just makes no sense. So not a great trade there. That was just bad all around. So not even a lesson to take away from that. It's just don't make a trade like that again. Okay, IFBD. I think I tried this one in pre-market. Yeah, I did. Okay. So this got some news this morning. Wait, no, this is the wrong day. I tried that yesterday too. This got some news this morning and popped up. Decent volume. In pre-market, I like to see 1 minute candles that are breaking that 100,000 volume mark, and we were getting that. So this was a stock that I was interested in. The volume was nice. It was retracing a big sell-off that it did yesterday morning. So thought people could get underwater and maybe this thing would go on the news. So you can see not great VPA on the 5, but the 1 tells a little bit different of a story. There was a pretty big volume sell candle there and then a pretty big volume sell candle there. But it started to ease up a little bit, and I liked this 210 area looking left. The real support area was more around 2, but I was looking at this little notch right here. This 215 to 210 area was what I was thinking might hold for a curl. It did not. So I took that loss there, had decent size, but really no bounce. No relief to try to get out of this thing. So I just took it off, lost like $900 on this one. So if you look at these two trades, already down 2K on the day, very first thing. So terrible start, not the strongest setup to be taking. Maybe this bounced a little bit there, but just two poor setups, to be honest. Just You know, VPA is not there on the 5, nothing special on the 1. Just shouldn't have been trading this. I've been staying away from pre-market and probably still need to unless there's that like really strong news, really strong volume. Okay, VTYX, next one. Let's see. This one, you know, this one reminded me a little bit of, I think it was DMS yesterday, where it had the whippy flag that broke out and then it tried to consolidate for another flag and then flushed. It's a little bit different than that, but that's what I was just thinking in my head. Obviously a different price range too. But if we look here on the 5, this was a better setup for me to take. I will say that. You know, we had this pivot here. It did hold it. It did start to go. I had an entry here, you know, not great, but it's a lot better than the other ones were. You know, here below 39, I got, let's see, I took that off. Yeah, I took that off when it came back down, but it held orb. You know, this should have been the add rather than the stop out, because we're still at orb. No reason to really freak out on this one. So then when it comes back up and kind of consolidates on really low volume, you know, right here above 39, you know, kind of got this trend line here too. I'm thinking the move is possible. When this kept dilly-dallying around, you know, I probably shouldn't have been in, but this consolidation was so low volume, I thought that it could rip up, but I got caught in this flush out here, took another big loss to the face. This one was another like $800 loss. I was a little bit more disciplined with these entries here, but not nearly enough. Let's see. Yeah. This just not a great trade either. I mean, warning signs everywhere, just not solid setups. In a market like this, I just don't need to be taking trades that aren't A++. You know, we know the market's slow. We know that even the best setups are flushing out. So why would I take anything that's less than the best setup? And so far, my 3 biggest losses of the day were poor setups. And these 3 that I've just gone over make up for why I was digging out of a hole. The rest gets a lot better from here. So 3 really poor trades on my part. You know, just boneheaded. I don't even know if I have a lesson so far at this point. Just don't take stupid, bad setups. That's the only lesson here. Okay, I tried AMC. Had a strong push out of the open. Let's see. Yeah, let's get on the right day here. Okay, AMC. All right, so I liked this. This is putting in higher lows, has a flat top. You know, got in here 10, 20. You know, I'm kind of buying in the middle of this flag. That's okay. But again, like I played this one right, because if I'm buying here in the middle of the flag and this starts to go, it needs to go. This is not one like that other trade that I want to sit around here if it pulls back all the way to 10.10, right? Now, this ended up going without me. This happened to me a couple of times today because the market we're in. But when I get a stuff candle off of highs, especially if I don't have an entry right off of support, I got to take it off on the stuff candle. And that's what I did. Basically a break-even trade there, even though it had the right idea. I think this happened to me later on PXMD, so we'll look at that. But stuff off of highs and then ended up going without me. And that's fine, because this was a 1-2 cent loss trade. No big deal at all. Once it made that big push and did this kind of methodical step down to orb, started buying again. When I didn't get the immediate curl that I wanted and it came below my average, I took it off, which was the right move. Tried it again here on, you know, this pullback once it reached claimed VWAP. Again, came below my average, took it off. So a couple of paper cuts here, no big deal. These are not really great setups. This was the right idea. It just left without me. This was just stuff I tried for some small cuts. So I was red on this thing. I don't like these 2 trades. This one I'm okay with. Just need to be a little bit better on my entries, and I maybe could have been there for this. I did trade this again later. Okay, let's see what this setup looked like. So where is this? 10:10. It's the wrong day. That's why. Here we go. Yeah, this one, I think I was playing this long and short at this one. This is just stupid, just level 2 scalping, honestly, at this point. There's not going to be a whole lot to take away from this, other than, we had a trend line. We had a 5-minute flag. That's what I got interested in, a sideways flag on the ADMA. That's why I got interested in this thing. I think I got impatient with it. I got impatient with it. There wasn't any volume. I didn't want to get dumped on, so took it off. And then because it started going without me, I started just trying to monkey with it and scalp it just to, I don't know. I don't even know why I was doing that. I played it short here, made a little bit of money on a few cents just to get I think my loss was at like $300. And, what's up, Mula? What's up, Perch? Cut my loss down a little bit. So tiny paper cut loss on this thing. Not a whole lot to talk about here on AMC. There were opportunities on this thing, but I didn't really watch this very much today. I did see the inverse head and shoulder setting up, higher lows being put in, the sideways consolidation on the 5-minute 8. So that's why I got interested, but it was just moving too slow, just not really momentum to be playing there. Okay, that's AMC. Already spent too much time on that. Let's look at Ader. Ader had some action in pre-market. Y'all hit me in chat if I'm going too fast through any of these, or if you got any questions, but I can go over any questions towards the end too. So Ader, pre-market looked like it was going to be one with some attention today. Kind of just sold off at the open, though. I didn't touch it in pre-market. Could have. It had this consolidation that I know some people played here against 280, but this is too low volume and too slow for me. I don't like to play those in pre-market. So when this came down and then ultimately reclaimed and started to, low VPA, this is not a lot of volume for the day, but low VPA on this pullback to this 270 area, that's where I kind of got interested to see if this could curl up and go through VWAP. When it just was chilling here and, not getting much movement, when this started to poke back up and then just came back right down here to 270, and since I had decent amount of size considering how low volume it was, I just took it off. Just wasn't worth the headache, and it ended up going down, and I would have been annoyed and stopped out here anyways, even though it recovered. So not a great setup there. Nothing. I think that's the only time I played it. Yeah, screw this. We don't even need to talk about it. RXT, this one I know some of our guys played. I didn't have the best entry, and after I took some poor entries earlier in the day, I'm up here at the top of the range. I just took it off. I just, if it went immediately from my entry right here, I would have stayed with it for the move. But when it didn't and started to curl back over, I just took the basically break even there and didn't touch it again. Okay, we're about to start getting into my profitable trades here. PYPD. I missed a lot of the front side of this move. This pivot was a wonderful play for anyone that caught it, and I just wasn't looking at it at the time. Awesome 5-minute flag there off of a pivot and 5-minute flag. VPA, nothing crazy on the 5, but the 1 looked a lot better with that descending volume there into that 145 pivot. But I missed it. But it did give us this 1 minute here. Again, since I was buying high, had my thinking cap on. Hey Chris, these are on my YouTube, and this one will be too. So I had big bids here on 168, 169 because we had ramping volume through high a day. We had a double pivot here, which was also, let's see, why did I have this? Was there additional confluence on this? No. But we had a double pivot here. Nice ramping volume, descending volume coming on the pullback. So, I was ready with bids here to slam this thing really hard in 170, 169, 168. Never got it. Only got my starter here when I saw the tape shift to 174. But since I'm buying up higher, on this 1 minute flag on the 1 minute 8, this thing needs to fucking go. And it didn't. It got one little pop, and I started scaling because, again, my average is high. I'm going to take profits quickly in this market. But when it came back down to my average, took it off. And I know it continued to curl and go, But man, I gave myself a chance for this to go, and it came back down to my average, and I took it off. Wasn't about to get more red on the day. It's the only time I tried it again. This thing got really choppy to me up in these areas. You can see the price action gets a lot more difficult there through the day. So awesome potential for a setup here. Didn't get what I wanted for the entry. Didn't get what I wanted for the push. And so made $70. Okay. Let's see. INM. Okay. So if you guys have been watching some of my stuff, you know that stocks over $10, the range, I just don't love it as much. So I was playing this one a lot smaller, a lot more conservatively, but let's get the 5 zoomed here. Strong move though. Okay. So I think we talked about this on the stream this weekend, on why this was a strong setup going into this week. We kind of had these higher lows going, kind of had some levels up here that if it broke through could be really strong. So this was the volume that it needed to really make a move today, and it really did it here at the open. Probably some opportunity in here, but again, because it was trading in this price range early in the day, I didn't want to take a huge loss. So anyway, when this does finally pull back here and it starts to hold VWAP, gives us a higher low, kind of gives this look like it wants to do a U pattern. This started to, it's not really like an inverse head and shoulders, but it is kind of giving us this upper, not really flat top level, but we are starting to get higher lows here. And then we do kind of get this little flag higher low look here against 1750. Once we get above this 1750 and then pull back close to it, that's when I took some. This spread was big. I might have even had bids down here, but the spread was pretty big at this point. So I'm just kind of buying this dip here and hoping this higher low trend continues. That's all I did. You can see I'm quickly taking it off right here as we start to push up above this area. Took most off there. I mean, I only had 500 shares. And then I took more off here because we didn't get that ramping volume that I wanted when it started to stall out sideways. So I made a little money on this one. Nothing big. Again, I play these so cautiously because they can just wreck you. So it comes back down. I liked this VPA here. I know it's tough to see. We had orb level. 1620s, and when we came down, it rejected off of VWAP, but the VPA stayed really nice here. So I took this. I wanted to see this 620s, 630s area hold, and I was going to play. I remember this. I was going to play this one super tight. Either it held 620, or I bailed, and it did. So I only had 10 cents risk, $50 risk, and ended up getting the push I wanted up to. That 17, into 17s. I didn't get fills up there, but top of the flag. Once we got near the top of the flag in VWAP, I started scaling out of this thing. So stacked up to $400, which is nothing crazy, but it's something. Decent 5-minute flag there. That's really good VPA. Definitely could have played that, especially off the trend line retest, but I didn't. This is at the point of the day where I was done trading, but that's a decent setup there. Okay, RGLS, man, this one, I was green on this one, but man, I have regrets on this one. I did not trade this one as well as I could have, and you can see all my executions on this thing just fighting it because I knew the potential was there. I traded it poorly, and I'll show you. So first things first, we had strong push through VWAP on this thing. This had news this morning. It sold off, but we got a nice volume push through VWAP, which is a strong sign. And then we had pivots here to play off of. I didn't like this higher volume stuff. So that made me a little more cautious on this thing. And you can see I took it off. I got the 201 fills. It's not the fills I wanted. I wanted fills under 2. And you can see where I was buying off of. But I did get fills. When it came back up and then came down to my average, I took it off. I mean, I wanted that thing to suck up if it was going to be strong. You can see it rolled back over, even made another low. But this was really the pivot. I mean, I needed to be prepared to play off this 196. And I didn't take the re-ads. I should have kept eyes on this thing for when it reclaimed. That would have been a nice entry when it lost this level, but came and reclaimed it. But I didn't. Or even the break of this kind of level that it rolled over on, that was a strong indicator there, and it could have been in. But so I did kind of try that, right? So it popped back through. Nothing crazy about the volume there, but we did have a level that, I thought, okay, well, maybe it can higher low off there and go. So I made a couple of cents on this thing, but this thing was tricky, man. This was a tricky area of the chart. Try it again here off of 2 when it pushed towards the highs, towards the supply area and pulled back to 2. Tried it, got filled at 203, break even trade. Again, tried off 202, break even trade. So might have even been cuts or a small cut right there for a loss. Can't really tell. Okay, so then this pulls back down to more of the demand area. Look how low this VPA is. Look how low this volume is here when it starts to chop sideways. Kind of gives us a higher low, inverse head and shoulders look here. You can kind of see right here. So when this pulled back and started to play out this head and shoulders look, kind of has a 1 minute flag above this flat top area right here. So I took some again. Started to get shaken out a little bit because look at this. When I'm buying on this candle right here, this 196, it starts to push. I need this to go. I'm buying high again. I need this to go. So when it doesn't, I take it off, but I added back when it held that level. Okay. So I was able to get a little bit of a move on this thing, but as soon as it started pushing up, I don't see really much crazy ramping volume here. So when I got a move against the cycle level 2, I took it off. It continued, but my ads were high. I'd already taken some cuts, not ramping volume really. Psych resistance. I took the profits, man, and ran, even though it continued to go. Now, okay, we get back above VWAP. Now the volume's a lot. Let's see. No, that's not good yet. It's still right in here. But we push up. Why did I like this? Why is my 5 not matching up good with my 1? Yeah, we're right here. Okay. Yeah. So we push more into the supply area. Look at this volume on the 1, okay? So now I'm looking at pivots, right? I want to see that 196, 197 hold, which is the same level from this morning, okay? So I can even draw this now for visuals. That 196 to 197 zone. This is significant now because we've gone up, it's demand, we come back under, we've gone up, supplies up here, it serves as demand on this dip, we push down through demand, now it's supply, we higher low against it, push through supply, now it's demand again, right? So I know these executions are in the way, but I like this now to buy against. So when this came down, it was a higher volume pull, but I hit it. I hit it at 2 again. See where my fills are. Yeah, I hit it as quick as I could at 2. I didn't get the fills under 2 that I wanted, but thankfully for me, it sucked right back up. And I was quick to start taking profits again because it was higher volume. So taking immediately some off, just a few cents up, and get down to half my position. I took half off when it got back up into its range here. And now I have half my position to ride. Okay. So it starts to push up, starts to get in this 208 area, 210. You can see that's still going to be supply on the chart right now. So start taking it off, start scaling more into this push. So this was a decent trade here. Could have held more for this move up, but honestly, at this point, look how low this volume still is. There's nothing to write home about this. Now, it does start to increase, so I could have been a little more patient with these, once this real volume starts to come in through high of day, once we push through supply here. But decent win. I'm not gonna beat myself up too much about it. Now that we did have that nice volume, I'm looking at this 1 minute flag, and you can see I'm fighting this thing. I mean, I'm in, I'm out, I'm in, I'm out, I'm in, I'm out on this thing because I buy here on this candle because we got pivot, we got ADMA coming up. I want to see it go, but what does it do? It stuffs off of highs. We don't get the 1 minute breakout. When we hold here again, I'm like, okay, we're putting in a flat bottom. Maybe I should be here. Starts to curl. I might have been making a little bit of money. I'm not even going to look and try to figure that out, but I'm just kind of getting chopped around on this thing. Rejects again off the trend line, off of this area. It's clear supply area. Starts coming back down. Now we have orb, okay? Now we have a 5 minute flag set up. I take it again. Smaller this time. Because we did a high of day and reject, so that gives me a little bit less conviction. But I'm here. Pushes up. Oh wait, maybe I shorted that. I forgot I could short this thing. Where did I get short? No, I wasn't shorting yet. This is a long. Okay, so I got long. Tried to add in. It's kind of tough to tell, huh? But so the 5, starts to go sideways. I'm still trying to be here for this thing. You can tell I get chopped around a little bit. I'm scaling a little bit at 220s, some of these down lower where I think it's going to break down. Kind of just getting chopped around, but unconsequential. Not really doing much to my P&L on these, I don't think. You can see most of my ads here are below 220. Some of my sells here are above 220, so doing okay. So it looks like I had some for this ramping volume and was able to scale into it, which was nice. Tried to be aggressive here, right? So again, we get the volume push we need, and I'm trying to ride momentum. I'm trying to be a little bit aggressive here. By that 31, again, it needs to go. When it doesn't go, when it pushes that new high and stuffs back down, I take it off. And again, I'm not here for the actual push, but this is tricky to play, I mean, that was the downtrend retest. You could have played that, but just didn't have my my mentals centered on that, so I missed it. You can tell here that I've recognized that this is the strongest name of the day, and I'm trying to be in to play momentum, trying to be aggressive even up top to see if this will squeeze on out, because it did at this point feel like there's a short trapped. He's trying to cover, just soak dips and be there for the move up. And I didn't do a great job of that. I took attempts at it, but, my executions were not in places where I could give it any breathing room, and it didn't get the moves on the candles that I needed. So gave myself chances there, but did a pretty good job of protecting my downside risk at the same time, even though I missed those moves. Now, things got a little dicey here. Oh, this is where I shorted it. Okay, I shorted it off that 237, really just to test it. And then when it started to come down below my average, I just stayed with it. So covered down here, 226, got long when it shoved up. When it didn't go, took it off again. I saw that volume there, saw that volume suck, and that's where I covered. And then when that volume came in, let's see, it was riding the 8 on the 5. That's why I got long, okay? But again, a trigger candle stuff, took it off. Now, this is where I think I gave some back. Again, it's riding the 5 here. VPA is okay on the 5. Just getting chopped around. That's all that is. Trying to find an entry, and then ultimately gave up on it, which was a smart thing to do because it kind of died off. Till we get a little bit of a downtrend break here. This is a little bit of a fake breakdown. You had these levels here at orb. Acts like it wants to break down towards VWAP. Sucks back up. Decent volume. 1 minute flag. I catch a little bit of this. Got scared and sold half, but did catch some of this for the move. This is not brilliant trading, guys. This is just me doing my best to capitalize on little pieces of opportunity that are there. I missed the really potent areas on most of this chart, so that's why my profits are really low. Got too much chopped around on it. Tried this dip down here. Did I short that? Yes, I did short that. That's what this was. Okay, so I sold up here when this started going sideways. I shorted it. I was, just saw this extension up here and just, felt like it was going to pull back. I only wanted a little scalp and it gave me that. So, little short win there. That's about it for RGLS, man. Just a bunch of chop for me. I'm out, I'm in, I'm out, I'm in. Not great executions. Gave myself a chance a few times. It is what it is. Could have made a lot more money on this. I know a lot of people made a lot more money on this, but I ended up with $400. Okay, NVTA. Okay. Really liked this hourly setup today. This was one that I called on the floor this morning that I was watching from pre-market. And here's why I like the hourly. Nice strong volume push over this 388. Kind of had this little flag going, and it held nicely into the open. Was pushing up here. Kind of had this flag going. So I took some into the open in pre-market because too many times, even in this market, too many times there have been nice hourly setups that have been putting in higher lows and have a nice look going into the open, and I sit there and just watch them rip and I'm not in. And so I was like, screw that, man. I'm going to take some for this and see if it'll go. And I had my support areas too. The areas I was calling to watch the support were 396, which was, let's look on the 5. Yeah, okay. 396, you can see a lot of this consolidation here. It's just kind of a level that gets respected over and over again. So I wanted to see 396 hold, and then below that, 388. That was the real support that I wanted to see hold, 388. So held my position. I did not add here at 396. This close to the bell, I don't want to get super heavy because anything can happen. It can just flush on you really quick. So it did hold. It did push up. I was able to scale some. Took the rest off here at 4 when it came back down. Tried to add a little bit back, but ultimately this thing failed. Started to push up, but then when it came back down, I took it off. So I did, I made a little bit of money on this, nothing crazy. I actually made my money short on this. When this thing failed on high volume and then pushed up against 4, I started getting short on this thing because, this is light volume push up, a stuff candle here on higher volume, light volume push up against psych level 4 and VWAP. Lots of reasons to want to be short on this. So, I got pretty dang heavy on this thing and had some conviction on this short, and ultimately it played out for me. And I took most off down here, 380s, and then when it started to, put in kind of this double bottom, a little bit of a higher low there and curl back, I took the rest off. So really my money was made short on this thing. The setup was really nice going to the open, but it just didn't continue. So had the right idea, failed, made some money short. Okay. Let's see. What did Mula say? I need to go. My issue in learning here is to cut the trade when I do not see the move. Oftentimes just stick around for too long. Yeah, Mula, it's tricky, man. I mean, you can see like I struggle with it too. I think if you can be quick in your mind, when you're buying at a high level, those are the ones that you got to cut quick. Do not let those ones when you're buying high go against you at all. Like those are the ones that need to go. Now, if you're buying on support and it's already made a move away from your average, go ahead and hold some. Maybe scale some and hold the rest. Like make it stop you out if you're really at support. If you're buying high, do not let those go against you. And this is what I'm telling myself too, because I'm bad about this. I like to play momentum and add into strength. And in certain markets, that pays me big. This is not the market for that. Okay. What's next after NVTA? ARQQ. Slower, quieter name today. Did get the volume push that it needed. Now, look, okay. Start at the daily and zoom in, right? Look at this awesome level we have here around 685s. Tons of support there on the daily. So that's the first thing to notice, right? And this is a strong volume breakout day for this. When you look on the hourly, the push up through there, really nice hold of that level 685. Did I see this at that point? Because that's an amazing setup right there. Ooh, it looked ugly. That's why. Man, but if you had the presence of mind to be zoomed out and play the hourly, I mean, that looks great on the hourly, but this is nasty on the 5. I did try to play this thing. This is another one that stuffed on me and went without me. If we look on the 1 here, really nice action here. I mean, I would take this setup a million times over, but a stuff candle, a breakout candle and stuff. I mean, this is the epitome of this market right now. Like, how many have we gone over that have done this right here? Break through the levels that it needs to and immediately stuff on volume, right? But this is beautiful. Riding the 8 on the 5, higher lows, starts to really tighten up here. I mean, in a good market, this thing goes gangbusters through 8. Seen it a million times. So I'll take this setup every time. If you look, it says sells here at 753, but really that's 1,000 at 758, so 760. So like I'm starting to scale into that break because I know I need to, and then I just got to take the rest off, right above my average. This was the right way to play this thing, man. But again, stopped me out and then went. We just looked at another one of those that stopped me out and then went. Really tricky to play. Like, I don't know how you catch this unless you really were buying down here and riding this thing up, but that's not my situation. Okay. I did play this thing again one time over here. I saw this late in the day, just kind of grinding up and had this tight consolidation on VWAP. We had support here, 736. Just really liked this. It was such low volume. I remember when I was looking at this thing, I just bought 1,000 at a time, and I was like, okay, as long as this bid, there was a bid at 740 and then a bid at 741, and I think it was like, 1,000, over 1,000 shares. So I was like, okay, I'm here. I'm gonna buy this as long as this keeps putting in higher lows. It's 2-3 cents risk max, so I'm here. So I bought 1,000, kept holding up, bid stepped up 1 cent, bought another 1,000, and then boom, volume came out of nowhere. This was just too tight technically not to go. So got the move I needed. Immediately I'm scaling quickly into this push, let some ride. This was a nice trade. But man, like, how do you have confidence in stuff like this in this market? Because how many of these things have broken down on us? It sucks. But great setup, took it, made some money. PXMD. Just make sure on the right day. Okay. So traded this one quite a bit today. This one chopped me around a little bit too. Again, like, look at that. High a day stuff. So lots of strength today. Had nice volume today. That pivot from yesterday afternoon was 440. So before that, though, this is a decent 5-minute setup here. That's ugly on the 1. So when this recovered that and started to chop sideways, I bought 412s, and again, needed it to go. When it pulled back under 405 or to 405, I stopped the hell out of this thing because my average wasn't good. But then when it sucked back up, I re-entered, took some off here, took some off here, took some off here. You can see on trades like this, like, why I sometimes buy in these areas that don't seem like good spots. Like when I see that suck back up and then go sideways again, I know that this type of thing is possible. So that's why I buy sometimes in here. They haven't been working that well in this market, but this is one that did. So even though it stopped me out, I re-entered. Herv and I are much more willing to be out and in with our positions, whereas Mikey and Thiz give us shit about it all the time. Whoa. Okay. So let's see what happened after that. Just really tricky action here, man. So this is when it started to grind back up, and it looked like it might just want to bleed up to high days from here. So I started to get long on this for the curl. My goodness. Dogs are barking. Took a little bit off there, 34, which was smart. But then I was ready to, I saw this come down against this trend line. This looked heavy to me, took it off. But as soon as this pulled back here, I was ready to hit it because I felt like a double bottom was possible. And if it didn't double bottom, I was ready to cut. But pretty decent fills there. Started scaling into it again. Pulled back, retested the... I had bids here. That's why I only have 135. But the retest of the downtrend here on this is low volume, but the VPA is, kind of intact here. Tried to get heavier here off the downtrend retest, but didn't get fills there. So just went ahead and took those extra shares off when it came back up. This was a decent trade, about all you can do on something slow like this. But it kind of zombied back up for us and was able to capitalize a little bit. This one chopped me around a little bit, and I was not here for this move because, again, look at this shit, man. You kind of put in a low, put in a higher low, break above that level 430, 1 minute flag, nice VPA above 430. I'm buying in here. The buys are up higher, but this is where you want to see it go. And we get that flat top break of 440, but what does it do? It stuffs and stops me out before it goes. So I missed this. I missed that huge move. Had the right idea, but it stopped me out. Again, when you see this, I got to be patient. I want to be buying off of 430 and not in these upper 430s. That's the only way really to catch this. So that's a mistake there. But at the same time, if I zoom over before you get this, look at that. When you see that, you're thinking this is about to go, man. You just popped above that 437. So that double top on the one, you're now going to test the high again. I'm thinking, man, this thing's about to go right now. So that's why I hit it. Go one more candle. Doesn't go. So I take it off. Sucks back up. Faked everybody out. So I buy again. We get the breakout through 440. And it stuffs. And so I, take the loss. How annoying is that price action? That's just terrible, man. And then what does it do? It actually goes. Sucks. So missed this whole big move. Really strong volume. So now I'm very interested in dips. It pulls back against the ADMA, trying to buy, but, getting shaken out a little bit. Again, kind of like a 1 minute setup here, getting shaken out again. I did finally catch this thing. I knew this had squeeze potential. I knew the VPA was there. I knew the 8 was coming up. So finally did get a nice move out of this thing. But man, I got chopped up first. Again, this is momentum. This is me trying to play active momentum, buying the 1 minute 8 to see if it goes. It doesn't. So take that small cut, 1 cent. Again, just getting chopped against this pivot here, trying to be in for continuation, doesn't get it. So paper cuts again. Comes down here, knew this was hopefully going to be demand area. Kind of just didn't quite have those levels and wasn't willing to risk more than a couple cents. So kind of just got chopped again. Trying here for the 1 minute flag. Nice VPA. Doesn't work out. Trying here again. We've got this level 511. We got trend line coming up. We got nice VPA. Doesn't work again. So I traded this thing okay, man. It's just we had a lot of setups not work. Some were better than others, but, I was green on it. It's fine. But, man, I'm really ready for some clean price action. Okay, I see. Pretty much exclusively traded this one short. I talked about this one in the stream this weekend. We had this nice push up broke through that all-time highs, put in this falling star candle on the daily. So this was on watch for me. My plan all day today was to trade this short. Got that action that I wanted to see on the open. This was good long VPA, so I took it long, but I wanted to trade this short. So started to scale, took it off. This is where I got short up here. I think that 1250, yeah, I think I had bids, or I guess asks, to get more short here against 19, but only got filled some of them. And then it starts coming down. I mean, this was a nice short for me. I was very patient with this. Let it pay me on the way down. Took it all off when it kind of gave this higher low here. But then I got short again into VWAP. Took this off a couple of times when it was still showing some strength. But then when it rolled over, got short again and took it off here. So pretty good. I'm not that experienced shorting. So this was a good experience for me to have a nice patient short going. I think this thing, could just trickle all the way back down in here, but we'll see. It held up pretty well today. Didn't get that major unwind that I thought might happen, but still made some money short. It was nice. NRBO, this was my best one today. I mean, man, I made $850 on my best name today. I didn't trade this one as well as I could have either, man. I could have really had some size. This one was probably the cleanest trader of the day. So let's look at this thing. Nice volume on the day. I haven't really been liking these names under $1. So let's look at this thing. Okay. 1 minute flag, nice VPA, VWAP's there. Quickly took it off when it pushed to high and then came back down again. Like, I didn't want another candle that looked like it was going and then stuff and then a wash on me. So took half off, just reduce risk. But, was here for the push up into high a day. Pretty good trade here, just not very much size. I mean, it, netted me some money and it had some pretty good range for an under $1 stock, but, could have been much bigger on this. I think Mikey had a ton of size on this, made really good money on this flag breakout. I made some. And at this point in the day, I was already red pretty good from those other ones that we went over. So this would have been a nice one to make a good chunk of that back. And I only had, 5,000 shares because I reduced risk. This thing held up. You can see nice 1 minute flag here. Let's go over nice 1 minute. Let's see, is that a 5 minute flag too? Yeah, 5 minute flag, 1 minute flag, ADMA coming up. We're over pivots now, over this 51 area. So got long here. VPA was nice. Again, I'm scaling quickly, but it's because of the market we're in, man. Again, I only had 10,000 shares. Was out most here in the high a day push. And man, this thing really opened up without me. So, missed a nice squeeze out here. In retrospect, pretty decent volume, probably worth holding some lotto runners, I guess. I mean, I can't be too mad at myself in this market for taking profits, but, okay, so we pull back, pretty high volume stuff there on the 5. I mean, that should have been warning sign to not get as heavy as I did right here. So scaled a little bit into this push. I mean, this is either a break even or a loss though, the way that I played this, and my ads are up here. So, you can see all my sells are kind of near the same place that my buys are. Nothing special there, but a fail. This thing got good again this afternoon. This is where I really should have hit the gas on this thing. The only thing I'll say about this though, when this started pushing back up, it kind of held for higher lows and started to push back up. Nothing super compelling about the volume on this pushback through, I guess is why I didn't get super heavy. But this would have been really, really nice to get long and strong on. I did have 5,000, I played this name well technically, but because it traded so clean, I could have had a lot more shares and made a lot more money on this thing. I've tried to get really heavy on these sub-dollar stocks the past several weeks, and most have gone against me, to be honest. So it's got a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. Another beautiful setup right here. I wish I added here and just risked these pivots again, because that was a better volume push up to test that 66 level. The VPA on the 5 was nice here. ADMA caught up. Not a beautiful candle there, but the 1 minute tells a little bit of a different story. This would have been great ads too. Really wish I had some size for this push up. Tried it again here. This is what I was talking about on the floor off this pivot 66. We had two nice pivots there. Nice VPA on the 5. This would have been a great place for it to go. But the warning sign was, when it didn't. It held the level it needed to, started to go, but didn't go. And it actually did give us a tiny little 5-minute candle making a new high. When you get that 5-minute candle making a new high and it doesn't continue, that's a warning sign. So could have been less aggressive with these ads and not taking this cut down here to give some back. I think I was up maybe like 11 or 1200 before this time, and I gave a little bit back there trying that. But since it was a call I made on the floor, I wanted to give it every chance that I could. I really don't like to call something on the floor and then get out too early, because I know other people might be in it. Okay, those are my trades today, man. I had some poor trades in there. Had some decent trading in there. I had no really spectacular trading. I just need to be buying on the obvious support levels much better. I think in this market, if you can be quick to identify your support levels and not be scared when it comes down to them, even sometimes on some volume and even sometimes quickly, if you're buying on support, you're most of the time not going to get screwed, and you'll most of the time get opportunities to scale some out at those supply areas that you can either add back at true support or stop out with a small gain, even if it goes below your average. So I got to really, really try my best to do that tomorrow and the rest of this week. And guys, once we are starting to get follow through, once we are starting to get some trigger candles that actually go, you guys have seen them. I've shown you every time where I get stopped out on these things, even though I'm buying a little bit higher up. You can see the way that I trade. I add into strength. I add into momentum. In a good market, that is going to pay so hard. So on one hand, to trade that way, I'm kind of in a little bit of survival mode. On the other hand, I've got to be a little more disciplined to being in on support. And especially if I'm in on support, then in a good market, I can really feel more confident adding into those breaking walls and not having to get flushed out within 1 or 2 cents because my average will be lower. So I've got to work on that. This is my opportunity to work on, soaking at support so that I can add into strength. And that's going to, oh my gosh, it's going to make me bank so hard when the market does come back. But it's a skill that I need to work on now. Okay. I just rambled forever. Do you guys have any questions or anything you want to talk about before I hop off? Try to keep this one more like an hour, so we got 5 or so minutes left. Oh, you're welcome, guys. How do you let runners run? Yeah, that's a great question. There's different ways you can do that. Some people will say, hey, I'll let some ride as long as it holds the 5-minute 8. Some people will say, some people will just straight up say okay, if I buy 10,000 shares and I scale most out, let's say I scale out 8,500 as it goes up and I'm drip selling out, but it's showing some strength. Some people will say, if I take 10,000 shares, that's my practice to leave 1,500 as runners. And I'm just going to let those 1,500 go no matter what happens, unless it stops me out at my entry. So some people will put a stop at entry and then they'll just let those things, in better markets, some of these names will really open up and go. And some people are like, man, how did you stay with that trade? It's because they have a standard practice that, I scale some out and then I let 1500 ride always. So that's a way you can do it. It's tough, man. I mean, I don't have many examples of ones that I could have let ride today because my entries were just generally poor today. I didn't have good entries today. I was waiting to see signs of strength before I was entering, and then that just wasn't serving me well. I mean, you got to buy the ugly in this market. This is not one that you can buy when you see strength. So, and this is also not a great market to give examples of letting runners ride because, I mean, where are runners riding to? Like maybe an extra little leg before it steps back down. In a better market, we'll talk about letting runners ride. But it's if you're taking some size where you can get some good profits on the meat of the move, it's a lot easier to let a chunk ride. And I'm gonna do my best. I think if I have a 10,000 share position, I'm gonna try to let 1,500 ride. If I'm in a hot market and somehow getting up to 20 or 30,000 shares, maybe I'll try to let 5 ride. Make sure your runners are a small piece that you don't have to watch them. You can throw them on a thumbnail and put on a hard stop somewhere, and maybe you just move that stop up. But having runners ride starts with good entries and good scales. You're not going to be able to let runners ride unless you have good entries and good scales. Let's see. Watch list for tomorrow. Yeah, I'm still kind of riding my watch list that I went over from the weekend, so I encourage you to check that out. I have not scanned for new setups after today's action. Let's look real quickly. ALLK, this is it's higher lows and tightening up. I mean, this could be setting up for a break over this like 510-ish area. In fact, I'm going to put an alert here, maybe like 510, because I want to know if it starts creeping up there. What did RVPH do? Yeah, it's holding up okay. Yeah, I don't really want to get into a full watch list. You can watch my stream from this weekend if you want to look at the ones that I was looking at for this week. Okay, touch on any of the Chinese IPOs. SHPH, I think I looked at this briefly today. But this is why I don't like these. SHPH, I did like how this thing was. I was looking for that break. I think I did have it on my watch list from the weekend. But this isn't the price range I want. It's Chinese IPO. I don't trust them. And then, for reasons like this, I don't want to get stuck in something like that. So, yeah, not really my bread and butter there. I'm glad you banked on it. I did not touch it. That's nasty to me. Okay, guys, one more question if someone's got it, and then we'll hop off. You got it, man. I'm really glad to hear that, trade writer. Mikey and I have been trading for a long time together. We trade similarly. And we're just sharing the little nuances that we've learned because we've put our hearts and souls into this. We've been busting our ass on it. And so it's fun to share and keep learning together. All right, guys, we're at an hour, so I'm going to bounce. I'll be on tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get some better action, and hopefully I'll perform a little bit better with my entries on support. So I will catch you guys tomorrow on the floor. Peace.